All right, I just got up to my farm apiary, and what I'm doing is I just put these two single medium hives up here that were swarms that I caught. This one that I have open is a swarm that I've had kind of in a trap for maybe a day or two too long, and when I put them into this box, I couldn't find the queen that day. It looked kind of wimpy, and so I thought I caught another, or actually, I'm sorry, I pulled this split out of another hive that I was trying to prevent from swarming. So I pulled out the queen. I basically made a split. Nice couple frames of brood, open brood, I'm sorry, cap brood, open brood, and plenty of bees. And, you know, judging how these bees right now are kind of, I mean, they're really, just because I'm here, none of these hives are really active. This one seems to be really upset, and I'm going to have to assume that my assumption was right, that there's no queen in here. That's pretty much what I was getting at. I put this, emptied a swarm trap into here. It was too cold to really go through it that day. I suspected that it might be missing a queen, and I'd come back and check. And so I had this split that I pulled, and I figured I'm going to bring this up here and probably introduce this split to this maybe queenless hive as soon as I confirm. And I'm going to go ahead and cage this queen. I brought these, I love these cages here. I can't remember what they're, JZBZ, I can't remember what they're called, but they have the hole there, and I stuff a marshmallow in it. I find the queen, put her in here with a couple of attendants, and I'm going to put her in this and basically integrate all these bees. No newspaper or nothing. And it should be okay because I've caged the queen to make sure that the unfamiliar bees won't ball her. She'll be in that cage. They'll get used to her. I think this hive's going to be really thrilled. Again, this was a swarm, so there's not much brood or anything in here. I mean, they're probably rightly so grumpy because this hive's just in bad shape. So I'm hoping that when I put in this nuke full of cap brood and a queen in a cage, it'll make everybody feel pretty good again. So I'm losing daylight, so I'm going to get going with that, but I just wanted to share that. This is a way that you can use those caught swarms in the spring. Okay, the follow-up to this. So I did, I thought this box didn't have a queen, and it did. I found her, and actually I put her in the queen cage, and got a marshmallow on top. I've got the hole facing up so that, you know, there's a couple of attendants in there with her. And the idea is the bees feed her through the screen on the front of this box to get used to her. So there's good bees and bad bees in here, you know, bees that are unfamiliar with that queen. So they'll eat through this marshmallow cap over a couple of days and release her, and hopefully by that time all of the bees will have accepted her. I sprayed down this entire box with some sugar water, and I put a little couple dots in the cage for the bees to get started feeding the queen, but the idea is to kind of get this colony smelling all the same as I introduce this queen. And I faced the hole up so that if any of those attendants in the cage with her die, they don't fall down and block the hole, potentially keeping the queen from getting out. I mean, in a worst case scenario, you'll come here on the next visit and you'll just manually remove her, but if we can avoid making blockages and allow her to kind of escape on her own and take over and start doing things, that's what we want. So since I had two queens, I had the queen from the there was a queen in that swarm, and then there was a queen in the split that I had pulled. So I put both queens in the cages. I chose one, and I'm just going to take this other queen now and requeen another colony. I actually have a colony that has a really old queen in it. It's the observation hive queen from last year that carried the colony through the winter. I'm going to requeen her now with this queen. This queen's got a green dot on her, so this is literally a queen from last year as well. I chose the younger queen that didn't have a mark to take over this hive, to have just a younger, fresher queen. So lots of things going on here. You know, you do all this stuff, and it's possible you come back and it didn't work. But if you don't experiment and learn and try, you'll never know. I actually have great success with this kind of stuff, as long as you're kind of thinking about the hive working as a unit. Again, I really like spraying down the entire hive with a sugar water solution, a little lemongrass oil in it, and then also spraying it all over that queen in the cage. So right away, it's like everybody smells like each other. So these bees are just finding their way from just flying around here. They smell this other queen in here. So I'll brush them off, and like I said, I have that queen in here with probably about 4 or 5 attendant bees, you know, friendly bees in there with her to service her, as the other bees outside feed her through the screen and kind of get used to her and hopefully warm up to her. So that's kind of how introducing queens works. Ask some questions, post comments below.